This video is brought to you by Nebula. Today, US Republicans are in turmoil as rebels successfully oust House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. Armenia joins the International Criminal Court, and the Seychelles opposition leader is charged with witchcraft. From TLDR News, this is your daily briefing for Wednesday, the 4th of October, 2023. On Tuesday, the US House of Representatives took the historic step of removing its Speaker, Republican Kevin McCarthy, from office. Many may remember back in January when it took 15 rounds of voting to get McCarthy into the speakership. He owed that victory to a series of concessions he gave to the populist, more hardline wing of the Republican Party, notably headed by Representative Matt Gaetz of Florida. The main concession was very unique. Known as a motion to vacate the chair, McCarthy promised this handful of Republicans that any one member would be entitled to bring a vote for his removal. That's exactly what happened this past Monday, when Matt Gaetz filed a motion to vacate. So why did Gaetz do this? Well, Gaetz says it's because McCarthy destroyed Republican leverage in the budget fight last week. He did this by using Democratic votes to avoid a government shutdown and pass a budget bill stripped of populist priorities, such as increased measures against illegal immigration. However, many suspect the motion to vacate was inevitable once McCarthy refused to end Gaetz's ethics investigation, looking into allegations that Gaetz violated sex trafficking laws and misused campaign funds. The Republican majority in the House is so slim that McCarthy could only afford about 5 Republicans voting against him. But knowing the numbers would be tight, he started reaching out to Democrats in the hopes that some of them may vote to keep him in power. These efforts failed once the Democratic leadership announced their support for Gaetz's motion. With that, his fate was sealed. McCarthy lost the vote 216 to 210, and the chair was declared vacant, marking the first time in history that the House of Representatives has voted out its Speaker.
Without objection, the motion to reconsider is laid on the table. The office of Speaker of the House of the United States House of Representatives is hereby declared vacant.
So, now what? Well, the House is under control of a Speaker pro tempore, a temporary Speaker empowered to keep regular order. This temporary Speaker has set new speakership elections for next Wednesday. The list of candidates at this stage is anyone's guess, but McCarthy has ruled out a second run. Alternatives range from congressional veterans like Majority Leader Steve Scalise and Judiciary Committee head Jim Jordan, as well as long shots like former President Donald Trump. Since the chair has never been vacant during a sitting Congress, truly anything and everything is on the table in terms of possible next steps, making for real uncertainty in the legislature. There's more on the way, but be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to make the daily briefing part of your daily routine, or just search for us on your podcast app to listen along. Armenia's parliament has voted to join the International Criminal Court, in a move likely to frustrate its northern neighbour Russia, especially given that the Kremlin had already warned that such a move would be viewed as extremely hostile. By ratifying the ICC's founding statute, Armenia is subjecting itself to the jurisdiction of the court, which is based in The Hague. Crucially, it means that were Russian President Vladimir Putin to visit Armenia, then Armenian authorities would be obliged to arrest him, as he's subject to an international arrest warrant issued by the ICC relating to Russia's actions in Ukraine. However, Armenia's Prime Minister Nikol Pashinyan said last week that the move was not directed against Russia. In fact, Armenia has said that the decision is related to what it describes as war crimes committed by Azerbaijan in the two countries' long-running conflict. However, ICC jurisdiction is not retroactive. Armenia has been trying to remove itself from the orbit of Russia, its traditional security guarantor, largely over what Armenia sees as a failure by Russian peacekeepers to prevent Azerbaijan's takeover of the breakaway Nagorno-Karabakh region. In a further move away from Russia, France's foreign minister visited the country on Tuesday and announced that France would allow the delivery of military equipment to Armenia. In other news, 21 people have been killed in a bus crash near the Italian city of Venice. The city's mayor called it a huge tragedy and described it as an apocalyptic scene. The tourist bus carrying 39 people crashed through the guardrail of the bridge and plunged 15 metres near some railway tracks and caught fire. Authorities say a review of exactly what happened will be carried out. However, at the time of writing, they say it's not possible to precisely reconstruct the fatal crash. One theory floated by the Veneto regional president is that the bus driver may have fallen ill and lost control of the vehicle. Among the dead are 4 or 5 Ukrainians, a German tourist and the Italian driver, according to Italian news agencies, which also say that a baby and a 12-year-old child were killed in the crash. Among the injured are Ukrainians, Austrians, Spaniards and other foreign tourists. Deadly bus crashes are sadly not too unfamiliar in Italy. In 2017, 16 people on board a bus carrying Hungarian students died in a crash near Verona, and 40 people died in 2013 when a bus fell off a viaduct in southern Italy. Moving on to the Seychelles now, where the country's main opposition leader, Patrick Herminy, has been charged with witchcraft. Herminy, who is a former parliamentary speaker and is running for the presidency in 2025, has denounced the charges as politically motivated and made clear that he does not believe in witchcraft. Police say that the case is related to an investigation into 2 dug-up bodies found in a cemetery on the country's main island of Mahe. According to prosecutors, Herminy's name was found in a WhatsApp exchange between a Seychelles national and a Tanzanian man who was detained in September, allegedly in possession of witchcraft-related items, including black wooden artifacts, small bottles of brownish liquid, an assortment of powders, and documents containing language and symbols described as satanic. The symbols are, according to prosecutors, similar to those that have been found in vandalised sites, including Catholic churches. 6 others from the Seychelles and 1 from Tanzania have also been charged in connection to the investigation into witchcraft and unnatural and superstitious acts. Herminy and his 6 fellow citizens have been released on bail, while the Tanzanian national remains in custody ahead of a court appearance in November. In some final uplifting news today, the World Health Organization has recommended for use a cheap malaria vaccine that can be produced on a large scale. The vaccine, developed by the University of Oxford, is only the 2nd malaria vaccine to be developed. The WHO's director said, "As a malaria researcher, I used to dream of the day we would have a safe and effective vaccine against malaria. Now we have 2. Both vaccines are very similar in effectiveness. However, the Oxford vaccine is able to be produced on a massive scale, and the world's largest vaccine manufacturer is already lined up to make more than 100 million doses a year, with plans to scale up to 200 million. That's all we have time for today, but if you're the kind of person who wants to dive deeper into the more technical and analytical side of these stories, then you ought to check out the Daily Discussion, where our writing team are let loose to discuss stories just like this one, diving deeper into news stories and unpacking the hidden details they found fascinating, but that are either too long or too academic to make it into the final script. If you want to check them out, you can find them exclusively on Nebula. And the best news is that Nebula is less than £2 a month and provides you with ad-free and exclusive videos from TLDR and a ton of incredible content from other creators, like Johnny Harris, Real Life Law, and Legal Eagle. Check it out by clicking the link in the description and make sure you use our link so they know that you came from us.